Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is an amazing story where Joe Biden's Department of Justice are trying to file for immunity for UNRWA staff who were involved in the atrocities of last year's October the 7th attacks onto Israel. This story is massive, yet no one is talking about it. This story is about a $1 billion lawsuit currently live in New York right now, where families of the victims of that tragedy have tabled a lawsuit for £1 billion against UNRWA. Now, this is quite a big thing, but if you want to read about it, don't go looking in any American or Western European websites, because they don't talk about it. You have to go and look at news outlets from the region, and I find that incredibly strange. So this story on Israel 365 news website, the headline is Biden's Department of Justice files to grant immunity to the UNRWA employees accused of working with Hamas on October the 7th. The United States Department of Justice, along with United Nations, is filing an official document in the USA Federal Court arguing that UN employees who took part in the October 7th massacre of Israelis are immune from prosecution. Israel has provided evidence that UNRWA workers committed such atrocities as murder, hostage-taking, and even kidnapping the bodies of dead and wounded. On September 26, UNRWA announced that they had terminated the contracts of dozens of employees who were accused of being involved in the massacre, promising they would hold them accountable even through criminal prosecution. The UN Oversight Investigations Division confirmed that compelling evidence was presented against at least 9 UNRWA workers, but no legal proceedings are pending against them. Israel claimed many more UNRWA employees were complicit in the massacre. In the document submitted to the court, the UN claims that UNRWA employees who participated in the massacre have immunity. Since the UN has not waived their immunity in this case, its subsidiary organisation, UNRWA, continues to enjoy absolute immunity from prosecution, and the lawsuit should be dismissed. The lawsuit claiming immunity in the US District Court for the Southern District of New York in Manhattan relates instead to a lawsuit filed by several October 7 victims that sues UNRWA as well as 7 of its commissioners, deputy commissioners general and a director for being complicit in enabling Hamas to build up a terrorist infrastructure. The lawsuit proves that UNRWA and its officials actively participated in the diversion of funds earmarked to support the people in Gaza into channels that ensured those funds were used for terrorism. Bijan Amin, one of the lead attorneys for the plaintiffs, told JNS in June. Indeed, the UN, its agencies and officials enjoy immunity from every form of legal process under the Convention, the Privileges and Immunities of United Nations adopted in 1946. But it also states that the UN has the right and the duty to waive the immunity in certain circumstances. Attorney General Merrick Garland supported the UN's claims that these officials have immunity. The plaintiff's complaint does not present a theory under which the United Nations waived its immunity, the Department of Justice's position stated. Therefore, since the UN has not waived their immunity in this case, its subsidiary organisation, UNRWA, continues to enjoy absolute immunity from prosecution, and the lawsuit against the defendant, UNRWA, should be dismissed due to lack of subject matter. After its incursions into Gaza, the IDF discovered terror tunnels underneath UNRWA headquarters. The lawsuit claims that UNRWA officials reasonably should have foreseen that their facilities would be used to attack Israel. Before the war, UNRWA was the largest employer in Gaza, employing an estimated 13,000 Gazans. It was estimated that 10% of UNRWA's Gaza staff are active Hamas terrorists. After these revelations about UNRWA's possible complicity, many nations suspended funding for the agency. However, most of these countries have restored this funding. The US State Department announced that it wants to restore funding despite a US law that prevents it from doing so until March 2025. In response to this lawsuit, UNRWA and the US Department of Justice are claiming that the UN should have immunity. The UN agencies and officials who are performing their functions do have immunity from prosecution. Hillel Noor, head of the UN Watch, has documented the connection between UNRWA officials and Hamas for many years. In his response to the immunity lawsuit, Noor listed several examples. Ali Baraka is a Hamas leader in Lebanon and has been named by the Department of Justice for engaging in crimes against humanity. Fatih al-Sharif is the head of UNRWA's Teachers Union and the principal of an UNRWA school in Lebanon. Noor claims that this is evidence that he is heavily involved in supporting Hamas terrorism and is a Hamas official. Suhail al-Hindi, leader of UNRWA Teachers Union in Gaza, up until a few years ago, is now an elected member of the Hamas Politburo. So, hope somebody's not injured. This strange tale that nobody in the West is wanting to talk about is bizarre, because the United Nations, when they were sacking UNRWA staff, told the world that they would support any claims for any sanctions or indeed criminal prosecutions against anyone in their organisation who was found guilty of these atrocities. Yet, when the first case hits a court, the UN, who can and are obliged to under certain circumstances, they can remove the immunity from their staff as they see fit. And they've decided not to. Total double standards. When everybody was asking questions about UNRWA at the start of this year, that's what they put out. And now, when there's a $1 billion lawsuit against UNRWA officials, they do not and refuse to remove them from immunity. That stinks. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe button and notifications. Please let me know what you think of the video and the content in the comments section below. Most importantly of all, is you're someone pretending you're a charity worker, but you're indeed a criminal terrorist. Not you, but everyone else. Have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.